Hey guys, I'm Chris.
And I'm not Mike. I am Tyler Boer.
And welcome back to this week's No Limits, the Thriller Podcast. How you doing today, Tyler?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. We just had an extensive hour and 15-minute, hour and 10-minute conversation with Jack Carr. It was great. What'd you think?
Thought it was pretty good. Good revealing conversation for the most part. Gave out a couple of new details and tidbits for his new novel. Curious if it'll turn into a lengthy series like the Reece universe, but it's completely separate and its own thing, and it comes out May 12th.
Yeah, May 12th, guys. You got to pre-order this. I'm excited about this one. It's interesting to, I don't want to spoil too much of the pod, but to hear like the writing process of this, and in order to be able to get more of a Jack Carr style book, it needs to go down this route, or else it's going to be one a year for him. So I'm excited, and I hope you guys enjoy our conversation.
Yeah. So what are we talking about tonight? I was like, I reached out because when I was listening to you guys, I forget who had the questions about co-written thriller and process and stuff, and I was like, why don't I just jump on and talk about it? So
Yeah,
we can talk about anything. We can talk about anything. I just love talking books, movies, TV shows, whatever.
it's interesting, right? We were talking about this, but yet we've known somewhat about, like, at least the nerds like us have known a little bit about this book, mainly because Simon Schuster and Amazon kind of spoiled the bag. So we have a question about that later, but I guess I just wanted to ask you, why a co-written book? Why this book? Why now? Like, what is your thought process?
Yeah. So I have this strategic plan, and it grows every year as I come up with different ideas for other books or TV shows or other things like a graphic novel or whatever else. So I have this growing living document that's my strategic plan, is what I label it anyway. And it's also like a running resume. So I have like the books, when they came out, the TV show, like when it debuted, like all that stuff is kind of in there too, just in little blocks, so I can go back to it and be like, oh, when did we finish filming? When did we wrap Dark Wolf? When did we wrap Terminal List? When did it premiere? Like, I'll show all those things in there. So it's like I don't like the word resume, but it's like I don't know, it's just a running list of kind of post-military
Achievements.
I guess I was going to use that word. I was searching for something else.
Come on.
Events, I guess, in the publishing world of my post-military life. And so eventually on that list, I have co-written thrillers on there, because really, it sounds terrible to say this. I'm trying to think about a way not to sound awful about it. So when I was a little kid, I wanted to be a SEAL, and I wanted to write, and I wanted that book to be a New York Times bestseller, and then wanted to turn into a, time as a kid, I'm thinking movie, but we got to 2018, 2019, 2020, the mindset kind of shifts to, oh, you can tell the story longer. So on a screen. And so I got those things. I did those things, and I feel so honored to have served as long as I did, 20 years in the SEAL teams, and then to have these books that resonated and hit the list, New York Times list, and get it made in a TV show. Like, it's so from here, I like all of life goals accomplished.
Check.
As far as like, I want to be a great father, good citizen, that stuff, and get better at those things every day, hopefully. But so now it's about doing them better, to have the next book be better than the current one, the next TV show be better than the current one, and then add things that interest me. So I was very aware of Tom Clancy branching out in 1994 or 5. When he did Op Center, and it launched for the TV show. I think it was on NBC. It was a couple part, or at least 2 parts, and then they launched the Op Center series. So from the fan perspective, like, not that age, I wasn't thinking I was going to do a co-written thriller at that age, but I was very aware of Tom Clancy building an audience through the books, through the flagship novels, and then a couple movies that had come out by then, and then branching out in the early 90s into co-written thrillers and into the nonfiction with the guided tour series and the Study in Command series. So, and then of course, aware of the video games, I'm aware of a growing empire, I guess, in Tom Clancy's case. And I wasn't thinking of that as a model back then, but now that I'm in this world and did those things that I wanted to do from an early age, now it's about building. And I think at this stage, I only have one book in me that I can do a year. Like maybe when the kids are older and maybe there's not the TV shows and I'm not writing those and so involved in that side of the house. If I was just writing, I eventually I can probably do 2 a year, I think, as I get older. But right now, with so much going on, like 1 a year is a struggle with everything else. Like it's deadlines and chaos and crazy late nights and no exercise and no great, not great food, just stuff in my face. And it's so I have 1 in me right now a year, and I'm going to focus. I thought I would focus on the Terminalist, James Reece, expanding universe with Tom Reece, maybe go back a little further in the future. But my plan was to kind of jump from James Reece to a Tom Reece, to James Reece, to maybe the grandfather, to a James Reece, and then maybe a Hastings family. Back to do like every other year with James Reece to give him a break, and then another book in that universe. But that's still 1 a year. So I have all these other ideas though. And so I thought, okay, Tom Clancy did that after, book 6 or 7, early 90s, saw him expand that way. Why don't I give that a try as well? So that's where my mindset was and is. So I can focus on the 1 a year, and I think still do. But I kind of failed already right out of the gate, because it was supposed to be this book coming out in January in my strategic plan. And when I pitched it to Simon & Schuster, I said, let's have this book come out, co-written thriller, in January, February. And then I'll still have my James Reece or Terminalist universe come out in May, June timeframe. So that was my initial idea. It didn't work out that way because Cry Havoc took so long, so much research, so much more. It just took longer than I thought. Like we talked about before, it took so much longer than I thought to get all those details in there. And I think
we would argue for the better.
What's that?
We would argue for the better. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I think somebody when I was listening to the podcast was talking about maybe there was too much detail and that sort of a thing. And I was listening to you guys and I thought, yeah, maybe there was, but at the same time, I was maybe hyper aware that some people would be. I didn't want to shortchange anyone. I didn't want anyone to say, hey, this is just a James Reece book dropped in 1968. And all the same, the character traits are the same, but it's jungle and you change the name James to Tom. Like, I did not want that. I wanted this to be a different character in a different era. And I wanted to capture the feeling of that era. So I really went deep on those details. I wanted someone from 1968 who lived through that to say, hey, you captured the feel, or at least I recognize that you put in the effort to try to capture the feel. And that just took so much longer than I thought. I thought it was just gonna be kind of like a regular book. And it was probably was it? Maybe it was close to being my most detailed outline before I jumped into the narrative. And it was pretty tight too. But then it just expanded. And I also had in my head that I wanted this to be an espionage thriller, like my first true espionage thriller that doesn't just have like a spy here or there, and is really a political thriller, but one that really leans into the espionage side of things and try to capture not only an espionage thriller in tone, the way one would write one in 2024, 2025, but the way one would have been written in 1868. So you're getting that feel of a 1968 book as well as those details at the same time. So hence all the spy stuff and all of that. So that was the goal. So I think I accomplished that goal. But was it necessary to do that? For me, it was because I did not want to shortchange anybody, like I said, and just, I just wrote 1968, at the beginning of this chapter, and everything else is the same. So anyway, that really put me behind on everything, and to include the next James Reece and this one, fourth option. So it's all about expanding, telling these different stories that I just don't have time to do on my own unless I wait a decade. But who knows how long any of us have. So I'm just going to continue building, and co-written thriller is a part of that build. So ideally, I'd like to have something one a quarter. I'd like to build up to doing something a quarter.
Ambitious.
Like a project, whether it's
a project. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, a book would be great. One book a quarter would be great, but slowly,
book, TV show, premiere,
project each quarter, I think, especially as I move forward here in life. So that's where it came from. But then the idea for fourth option came. I mean, it was a long time coming, and it's this right here. I had this out because I was making a little video about it from watching this TV show with my dad back in the day, Have Gun, Will Travel, an old Western from the late 50s, early 60s. And my dad loved it and he wanted to share it with me. And so I loved it as well. And it was just, the character was so cool and so different from a lot of the other Westerns that I was had seen up to that point when I was a younger kid. So so then when I got to 2014 and I wrote down all these different ideas for my first novel, and some of them have become other novels in the James Reece Terminalist series, but I had a whole bunch of them, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, something along those lines, and laid them out on the kitchen table. And the fourth option was one of those. But
wow.
with the Terminalist, that one was, I knew I had to start with that one. That was just visceral and primal and hard hitting out of the gate. I was drawn to that one, but fourth option never left me. And then I dove it, just immerse myself in the Terminalist universe. But then in the summer of 2021, we're filming in LA, wrapping up the last couple of weeks of filming the Terminalist, and we had a couple of days off. Usually we only had one day off, but in this case, I think we had two for some reason. And I started thinking about projects outside the James Reece Terminalist universe that I could write for as a novel or for television, for film. And so I had a little time and just took a breath and started writing some of those things down. And of course, returned to the fourth option and took that initial executive summary and then expanded upon it because I just had time. There's no family out there with me, and I was just typing away. So put that kind of expanded on that as much as I could, and then put it in the queue for a future TV show. I was thinking TV show at the time for this one in particular, so that's how I wrote it up. And then a couple months later, I turned it into this. And I put a duct tape over the face of the actor because I was thinking of it as a TV show. Because if I show that, then everyone will always ask me, "Are you disappointed that so and so didn't get it if we made it a show or something?"
Gotcha.
So I had it turned into like a PowerPoint so I could pitch it in Hollywood circles. And so I had that, like the actors, the story, the like tone and stuff like that for
Wow.
little clips from different TV shows and movies, so you can get the feel for what's going on here in New Orleans. Is the backdrop. I always wanted to set a novel in New Orleans as well. Went there for the first time when I was in the SEAL teams back in 97, I think, is the first time I went there. And then with my first platoon, went back a couple of years later and SEAL platoon on Bourbon Street. So that was kind of crazy back in the day. But so I have this whole thing ready to go for Hollywood. And then I had another project to get going to early stages of development in Hollywood outside the James Reece universe. Also, something that I was writing that summer when we had that time off in summer of 2021 when I was thinking of things outside the universe, and it was with Skydance, and then I was able. I didn't like the way that like having a book that changes for me anyway is fine because you have that thing that's pure. So seeing that get turned into whatever it gets turned into, like for me, that's fantastic. Like that anybody wants to make anything based off something I wrote is amazing. But when I saw something that wasn't a book, that was like, I don't know, 20, 30 pages of kind of executive summary / outline / treatment, and see that change, knowing that no one's ever going to see,
it hit you differently.
It was very different. And I didn't really love it. And so I clawed this one back because both were out there. So I was able to claw this one back. And then I thought, okay, clawed it back. I will turn this into the first co-written thriller. And pitched Simon & Schuster on it. They gave the green light right away. They didn't even ask what it was about. It was crazy.
What about Woodward? How did you meet him?
Yeah, so this was 2023. I pitched it to Simon & Schuster. I think 2023, pitch it to Simon & Schuster, maybe 2022. But anyway, get the green light right away. And now it becomes, okay, how do you find a co-author? And I was like, oh man, how do I do this? Okay, I'm just going to start reading a bunch of books by people who I think would say yes if I asked them, like that have really good books, but for whatever reason haven't I don't know, blown up yet or whatever. Maybe they haven't hit the New York Times list or for whatever reason. So I started reading all these different books, and then I found The Handler, and I was like, I read The Handler. I'm like, okay, I really like this book. This is really cool. This sounds like somebody I could work with.
I'm reading it right now.
Nice. Yeah. So I saw that, and at the time he hadn't signed on to do the Clancy stuff because one of my things was like I wanted to work with someone who hadn't done any co-written thrillers before. And so I read The Handler, and I ask my agent, and she reads it too, and she agrees with me. And then she reaches out. But in that time, then it's announced that he's writing.
He took over for Don, right?
For the Jack Ryan Jr.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh well, I guess that's okay. because I really did like the handler, and so I reached out, and he wanted to jumped on board right away. So I sent him this 40-page thing that I just showed you right here, sent that to him, and then he went through it, and I wanted to see if it resonated. If he doesn't like it, then that's not going to work, but it resonated with him. Sent him one other option too, because I had another option in mind. So I sent him two different things, like, what do you think of these? And he said, hey, this one resonates the most with him. So I said, all right, let's do this. And then we went back and forth for good few months on the outline. So probably from February, March, April, May, even of last year. So it came together pretty quick, but it was
Is this like you
line.
using a shared Google Doc or something like that, or?
No, text, emails. I can't use shared.
Okay.
It always have to transfer for some email that I don't use anymore or something. I cannot use Google Docs for the life of me. It's just brutal. So anytime someone shares something on that, I'm just like, I'm out. For that reason, I'm out. But yeah, so we had this, slept on it, and we just went back and forth, Zooms, emails, texts. I don't know how the authors do it, by the way. I have no idea how, an author that does like one a month, I don't know how that would be possible. Or if you just put your name on something, I guess you can do that. But that was not this. So yeah, I went back and forth for quite a while. I think maybe longer than it took him to do the rough draft, because we went through that back and forth, emails, texts, Zooms, got this thing, the outline pretty solid, pretty robust, just doing that together. And then he went off and took a couple months to do the rough draft, turning that up because it was so robust, and then sent that to me in August. And then I've been churning on it ever since, save for book tour and finishing up filming True Believer in Morocco. And I did some work on it over there, but save for those, I've been just deep in it. And I'm so happy with where it is. It's awesome. It's awesome. But once again, it's kind of like with Cry Havoc. I didn't want it to just be James Reece with a different name, because he has a very background, and I never want anyone to say, oh, you're just trying to, I don't know. I want to make a new story, new character, new feel to the whole thing.
I was going to ask you about that because, just if you read the Amazon tagline, there's this one line that sticks out, right? Someone who takes justice into his own hands, exposing corruption, issuing long forgotten brand of lethal outlaw justice. You could read that and it definitely resonates, to me at least, with, like the terminal list. So how do you how are you differentiating this with what you've done in the past?
Yeah, in a ton of different ways, because it has that similar element. So that means that every other element around it has to change and be different, have a different feel and have a different tone. Because that element of revenge, it's not really, I guess it is, but it's very different. It's not a revenge type of a list. It's a little different in that respect, but it's that stranger comes to town story.
Sure.
The one, it's the Western. It's Have Gun Will Travel, but my modern interpretation of that, and to include shows like Shane, High Plains Drifter, like Magnificent Seven.
Love that.
All those stories that have that kind of the mysterious stranger who shows up and rights a wrong. Pale Rider was a big influence.
Pale Rider's fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
That was one of my questions on my list, was like, what are some other of your favorite Westerns? I was going to say my number one is Once Upon a Time in the West. And then nice. Pale Rider's probably number two. And then maybe like Tombstone and Unforgiven after that, probably. Yeah.
Pale Rider grows on you, especially when you take a breath.
Sure. I always liked it since I was a kid. My dad showed it to me. I loved it.
It's good. It's such a good film.
With Have Gun Will Travel being your main influence for this, or the thing that got you into Westerns, maybe. I know how you liked to put Magnum PI references and Easter eggs and stuff in the Reece series. I was curious, is there going to be like a Richard Boone named character, or something named Paladin, or anything to do with like White Knights or anything?
There's a Paladin
as far as Easter eggs go. So
there is a Paladin.
Okay.
Nice. There's certainly that was my kind of on the nose nod to Have Gun Will Travel, was to have a Paladin in there. And
mine were always the spaghetti westerns. I watched all the Sergio Leones with my grandfather. So that and Bonanza. We watched a lot of Bonanza.
That's fantastic. Yeah, the grandparents like Bonanza. I remember that.
Yeah, my grandparents watched Bonanza and Gunsmoke with me when I was a kid, but my favorite when I was a kid was Zorro.
Zorro's so Zorro. Good. So good. Love Zorro too. so great. I watched a ton of Zorro growing up. Lone Ranger, ton of Lone Ranger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, these ones were more like I guess it would be more the, like, I guess, no, darker is the right word, but definitely those Westerns that have that mysterious stranger. Like that was kind of the element I wanted to bring to this. That's different from a James Reece novel. And this is a like modern rendition. So instead of a horse, he's got a VW bus camper. And it's kind of
You love your cars.
I do. Has to have. Yeah, exactly. But he can't be a Land Cruiser guy because
Yeah.
Reece. And I love VW vans, and so he's got that, and this is how it kicks off. So he's got so there are some similarities because they share a similar background, both SEALs, because I want to bring that authenticity to that.
Sure. It's your background too, right?
Yeah, and this guy has more background in the CIA, and I did have a touch point with the CIA when I was in 2006, being assigned to a unit in 2006 in Baghdad that influences a lot of the terminalists. But then this guy's younger, so he wasn't in like the whole war on terror. So I want to make him have an age differentiation as well with James Reece. This is someone who experiences the withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021. So in August of that year. So that plays heavily into the story. But yeah, it's different in so many respects. It really is influenced by the stranger comes to town narrative and that old school Western, but a modern rendition of it. But because I'm a child of the 80s, I can't stay with the Westerns of like the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. I got to have I couldn't help it. There's a drop of Magnum PI in there for sure. Equalizer 80s version.
Oh, nice.
So there's for sure a little A-Team action. You'd probably do that. Maybe Mac Bolan series probably influences this quite a bit. The old school Mac Bolan, Don Pendleton series of books. And then Lethal Weapon. Lethal Weapon plays
awesome.
in. There's some direct. People who aren't Lethal Weapons fans won't notice, but those who are will be like, yes.
Nice.
So,
those are my dad's favorite movies.
Yeah. My dad raised me on 80s stuff. I was born in the early 90s. So my dad raised me on 80s stuff, and I'm a huge, enormous movie buff too, and TV buff. Nice. So all that stuff resonates pretty good. Another one I wanted to ask is, does Chris Walker have a Winkler Tomahawk equivalent? And if so, is it the K9?
It's not the K9, but it's of his Winkler knife equivalent, and I just actually put it in a bag to go to film the trailer. So I was just putting all that stuff together to right before I ran up here. So he's got a special blade that he uses that I haven't seen anybody write about. I haven't seen it in movies. It's pretty unique, and so I didn't want to just say, oh, he's got a different kind of axe, Yeah. He definitely has his totem, and his weapons, but he's more of you'll see he's got some old school stuff going on. So he's got some older like Colt Peacemaker, a little nod to those.
Oh, that's cool.
Got the old 30-30. He's got the old like the World War I trench gun. He's got the old school 1911, like that sort of thing.
I'm guessing the 30-30 is a Winchester.
Yeah,
that's another good one. Is Winchester 73. My dad loves that one. So
nice. Rifleman, like those sorts of shows. So I thought it would be a different take, different to really firmly root this series in the Westerns that I liked growing up, because that's not something that I thought about when I was writing the James Reece books. I never thought about that. I had different books that influenced the different ones, and I talk about that in the like author's notes and prefaces and stuff. Like for Cry Havoc, it's The Quiet American and Tears of Autumn and The Honorable Schoolboy. So those are the three, and those are all pretty old books, obviously, but none of the James Reece stuff was firmly rooted in like that Western tradition, and so this is definitely firmly rooted in that tradition. So that from the outset allowed me to not worry that it was going to be like just a different character that is exactly like James Reece but with a new name, because all the foundational elements are all totally different. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, just from the way you're describing it, it's like it's giving us or the fans, a Jack Carr feeling, all your inspirations, but, giving us something completely new, and it's exciting. So like David is the one who reached out to us, or through David reached out to us, and we were like, of course, we got to talk about this. We had just started talking about this book, and can't wait. May can't come any faster, so
I know.
can't wait for the arc to get here. So
yeah, I got it right here. So this is this is the one I'm working on right now. Work off this copy. So I'm a little over halfway through on this pass, and this is just I'm trying to get those little inconsistencies, the little things that maybe a copy editor or somebody's not gonna catch, any little mistakes, like someone's a corporal and now they're a sergeant, like because of some or even names that are misspelled that are just so close. Like there's that stuff happens all the time. So so that's the stage I'm in right now, and I did this one first, so I do it twice, and I'll do it to this stage, and I'll do it again when I get it back. Then this one back from Simon and Schuster. But I do this one, take all my notes, apply those to the Word document, and then when I do that, I print it again, then send it off to some beta readers that I think in the acknowledgments of each book. And then this one I sent to an FBI buddy, a canine handler buddy from the SEAL teams, and an EOD buddy, so they can go over those sections and make sure that it's if someone who's an EOD guy is reading it, knows that I put the effort in to try to capture what it's like. And a canine, I captured that relationship between the dog and the handler in a way that someone, if they're law enforcement or military but works with dogs, they'll know that I put it in there. I didn't just take something from a movie I saw or whatever, then make it up. It's like it comes from a real place. So did that, and then my editor gets back to me with her notes in there at some point. So this is hers right here, and she goes through with her red pen. And so I incorporate my notes from that first printout, her notes from that printout, and that becomes this one that I am on right now. So go through here, catch a bunch of stuff, and then incorporate those into the next pass, and then do that a couple more times here before the end of the month or early February, and then it's off, and any mistakes are in there forever.
And so this is still like you and MP like working it, or is it now just?
No, it's back in my. Yeah, it's been
back in your hands.
Yeah, so it's been in my hands since I got the rough draft, and so he did his work on it based off our outline, and then I send it to him though and get his input on all the changes that I've made over the last few months. And so I'll look at that, just like I'll look at the stuff from the canine handler, from the FBI buddy, from my EOD buddy, and then any of those 5 beta readers, I guess, anything that they have to say also. And I don't incorporate all anything that they say, but they do point out, they do catch things. And I like that they each catch something different. Like they never catch the same sort of thing, but they'll catch something. And every time I'm like, how did I not see that? Of course, what happened to the car keys, or what happened to the, like something that, because you're so in it,
sure,
that you just made an assumption about. I think that's probably the best way to put it. You made an assumption about as you've been writing it, and then it takes somebody else to say, why didn't they lock the door behind them? Something like that, So at that stage now, it's all those little refinements at this stage of the game.
Yeah, I saw in the the little blurb that you have a canine Belgian Malinois, so you're trying to go with a new audience, try to capture all the animal lovers.
I didn't think of it like that, but I thought of it more of, hey, this guy needs a companion. He's going to be.
Oh, it's great! I'm so excited. I love
in this vein.
I had a Belgian Malinois. I had a Alaskan Husky growing up. So
nice. Yeah, I didn't think of it in those terms, but I thought, okay, this differentiates from terminalist stuff because there's not really there's some dog stuff in there, but it's not like a main character. This is like a main character, so it differentiates it in that respect. And also, I thought this guy needs something. He's hurting, and you'll see why when you check out the book. But he needs a companion, and so it definitely made sense for this character.
Awesome.
Yeah. And you wanted to ask about Simon and Schuster, like why it came out earlier.
Oh yeah, I was gonna. How hard is it to keep things secret?
It's not really secret. It's more like coordinating effort. It's about that. And so, they put it up a little early, and that's just how it goes, and whatever. But I think it is much better to have a coordinated plan, whatever.
Sure.
Together and then announce at the same time, and all the rest of it. So I think that's helpful, but it didn't work out that way this time. It's just more about coordinating efforts than anything else. So, but going forward, I will double check on all of these.
Last time you were on, we talked a little bit about some novella stuff, specifically about the Savage Son epilogue, but I was curious between that and like maybe Rhodesian conflict with the Hastings brothers, if either of those are on the horizon, or I'm sure you can't confirm or deny anything, but those are two specific ones that I know
Yeah.
we've chatted about in the past.
Yeah, it's they're on a list in the other room right there. I have a list of fourth option edits, James Reece 8, and so I'm going back and forth on those for the next couple of weeks, like I said, and then it's all in the James Reece 8. But after that's done, so it's like a list of priorities, I guess.
Okay.
And that's the same question my agent asked me yesterday, actually. The same one you asked there. Hey, where's this novella from Savage Son? And I was like, well, as soon as I'm done with James Reece 8, I'm not, because I'm not sure how long it's going to, I never know how long it's going to take. That's my thing that I'm not good at. Because for me, it's all about the story. Hence,
Sure.
Cry Havoc being so late. I'm just not going to turn something in just to turn it in. Like I could have got that, but it wouldn't have been as good. It has to be as good as I can get it. That's what I owe any reader who's going to spend time on those pages and never going to get that time back. So that's something that really weighs heavily on me and something I take extremely seriously. So right now, my goal is to be done with James Reece 8 by midsummer. You know, I had plans like that for Cry Havoc as well, but that didn't work out, time wise. The book worked out. I'm so very proud of the book, and I felt it's my best effort at historical, what turned into historical fiction. But my plan is to be done with James Reece 8 midsummer, and then roll into one of these other projects. And one of those is possibly the novella that, and I think I might have told you this before, but in the outline, he's supposed to have this whole journey through Siberia in the outline for Savage Son. And then I got to that stage so near the end, and I thought, oh man, this is going to take people out of the story for a significant amount of time. And then they're going to have to hop back in to this story. And I got to that point and I thought, yeah, the right answer here is very natural. Don't force this. This is another story at some point in the future. And so I put that kind of poetic chapter in there that bridges his months long journey across Siberia to get him to those final chapters. But I wanted to go back to that because Last of the Breed, of course, was a huge influence on me growing up, and so I want to do something that's a nod to that because it was so influential on me growing up. So it's one of the things that's on my little list in there. There's a couple other things on there as well, so I'm not sure. Depends on when I'm done with James Reece 8, how I rack and stack that list. But once again, that strategic plan has short stories in it. It has novellas in it. It has mysteries in it. It has different novels with different whole universes and characters in it. It has graphic novels in it. It has all sorts of things that'll be fun to do. It's just kind of figuring out how, where, when, and continuing to get James Reece in, hopefully on time. That's my goal this year. Start turning things in.
You're always busy.
So have that. And then we have the shows, and I don't know what's happening with the shows because we have a big turnover at Amazon and the executive branches, I guess.
Okay.
And so not sure about what's going to happen there. Anytime a new executive team comes in, who knows what they're going to do. But we're.
Does this mean will we get season 2?
We'll see. Like I don't.
Oh wow.
I don't know.
The filming's wrapped though. The filming's done, right?
So our True Believer. Sorry, I thought you meant Dark Wolf. So yeah.
Sorry, True Believer. Yeah, season 2 of Terminal List
coming out. I don't have any dates yet, but
okay.
I suspect this summer, and I hope that I would really like them to drop it 4th of July weekend all at once. That's what I pushed for Dark Wolf, but I didn't quite work out that way either. But I think this audience wants bingeable stuff. They want to watch it as a movie or have the option to. And also, I think people get distracted if you drop something that is coming out every week because your main marketing push on something is that initial week. And then guess what? All these hundreds of other marketing pushes that are
come up
in there. And so you're taking your kids to school and you're making dinners and you're like, oh, wait. And all the marketing is coming in for something new. And you're like, oh, let's try that or something. So
does Amazon share any of that? I'm sure they know the data of drop off of who finishes the series, right?
All the data. So they don't share any data.
Yeah.
But we expect, I know it did really well. I know that.
Okay. Yeah.
But you never know when new people come in and who knows what's going to go on. But I hope we get another Dark Wolf season. I see that as like a 3-season arc. I was talking to Taylor about that today, and the 3-season arc and what we want to do with a season 2. So that's we're all excited about it. Everybody wants to do it. Just we don't know if we're going to get a chance. We'll see. Because any of these things can derail at any point in time.
Oh yeah.
And so I don't ever want to, get out over the skis, but we're hopeful, but who knows? And True Believer is looking so good. I've seen every episode except for the final one, except for episode 8. And they're all looking so good. And 8 should come out next few days. So I watched those.
That's my favorite book. So I'm
oh, that's right. I heard you say that.
Yeah, I am so excited for this series.
Well, you'll like, because I think, and I wrote this to Emily the other day, my publisher and editor, Emily Bessler, and just thanking her for taking a risk on me as a new author, and then taking a risk for me with that first third of True Believer.
Oh yeah,
most editors and publishers.
I think that's the best part.
Thank you. I think most editors would have just taken that out completely. That she might, and she never even didn't take an eye at it. So that was cool, because I don't think there probably are very few editors that would have left that in. Said, hey, start it here with the action, start them in Africa.
Yeah, especially your book too, your new author, right?
So yeah, exactly. They have no trusted track record, they don't have, you don't have much pull or whatever, but she was all in. So she trusted me on that, took a risk on me with that, took a risk on me with the Beirut series, with the nonfiction side, took another risk on me with the co-author stuff here. But Amazon also took a risk on us as a team putting this thing together. Chris Pratt, me, David DiGilio, the showrunner, Jared Shaw, everybody that's involved in this thing, Max Adams, former Army Ranger, like all this core team, Antoine Fuqua. They could easily have said, no, don't do this thing across the book. It's the Atlantic, and the show, it's going to be the Pacific. But don't do that. That's too expensive. Or do we really need, this sailboat thing for a full episode? Just get to the action, and they went with us. They took the risk, and it is a big risk. It is definitely a big risk for them to do that, but they trusted us. We got the gutting scene in there in the first season, so we have a couple wins in there when it comes to taking risks. Killing off the family in the first episode of the first season, that's typically not something that's done. So we have a good track record with the risks, but this one's a big one. I mean, this is not a scene. This is an entire episode going across the Pacific, and it's awesome. Chris Pratt battling storms and fishing and battling demons and all that, and then having these terrorist attacks like in the book that are taking place, that are kind of like the some of the more explosive action that propel that episode forward. But I think it looks great. I think it's awesome.
I'm so excited.
Really cool. And then anything Mozambique, I mean, they could have said, just do like a scene in Mozambique or something like that. But we have a full Africa episode. And so it's
nice. That's what me and Mike were guessing. We were not guessing. We were hoping for at least one scene on the water, one scene in Africa, and then the rest can be the action. So
yeah,
it's good to hear.
The episode in the ocean, episode in Africa, and then boom, up to Europe from there. Just like the book. Some things have to change, obviously, because you're telling a story visually, and then also things in the old stage changed with Russia invading Ukraine. So this is well, but a lot of the other stuff is quite true to the book, much more so than The Terminalist, I think.
Okay.
Actually, not I think I know. And it's looking good. I mean, it's looking really good. It's an amazing fight scene, incredible torture scene. Yeah. I mean, the first...
You make a cameo in season 2?
Yeah, you can keep your eyes peeled. It'll be
keep my eyes peeled.
It's I was actually talking to Taylor about this today too, because we're like, hey, if we get a season 2 of Dark Wolf, how do you want to have your cameo? And the True Believer cameo is good. Like we got,
so you got to top that.
We have helicopters and blowing Range Rovers blowing up and automatic weapons fire, and like it's a good scene.
Good.
So I'm like, let's go back to something primal. If we get a Dark Wolf season 2, do something where you're like, we go hand to hand, and then you like drown me in a puddle or something. Like I don't know, something cool. I don't know, like last scene of Lethal Weapon or something like that in the rain.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good scene.
The fire hydrant. But yeah. So it's a good cameo, and the show. Man, you never know how they're gonna land. We might all love it, and then it comes up and it doesn't hit or whatever. But I think it looks great. I think it looks really, really good, and it's emotional too. It's really emotional. I think more so than the first season. But it's got heart, but everyone put their heart and soul into the production of it, and Chris is totally on board, and the Landry scenes are fantastic, and It's
Nice.
it's good. It's good, man. I'm fired up. Can't wait to see this final episode when it hits the inbox over the next few days.
It's nice that we got like a little bit of Landry, like the primer with Dark Wolf in between. So
Mhm. Yeah, I get to know those characters a little bit. Don't have to waste any time in terminal list setting them up, creating some sort of connection between characters or between viewers and the character. So it worked out really well in that respect as well, introducing those characters in Dark Wolf and then off to the races in True Believer, and then fingers crossed we get to go on from there and do some Savage Son action. But we'll see.
Tyler's favorite book.
Yeah, that's my favorite. I was going to ask you about that. I know you just mentioned about the executive team changing, and so it's kind of up in the air at the moment, at least. But I know last time we had talked about perhaps doing a film instead of a series for Savage Son, and I was curious. I noticed that Jack Ryan series did that. They did 3 seasons, and then they have like a movie on the way, I think. I'm curious if that'll be like a theatrical release or not. But I was curious. I know you had mentioned it was mainly because of Chris's schedule, instead of, number of months, it's, probably a third of that for a filming. But any more details on if that's a possibility still?
It's a possibility, but once again, we don't know. We're kind of in a waiting game here and see what the new executive team comes up with and what they want, what they ask for, and then what Chris wants to do and all of that. But I know at this stage he'd love to do it, but there's all sorts of talks and things that need to align for to be the case. But also I think of all the books, Savage Son is probably the one that lends itself to a feature more so than the others. So for that reason and Chris's time, I think it would be, of all the books, that's the one that would probably be the most well suited for a feature. So I think it'd be awesome. I think we could totally pull it off in a shorter amount of time for Chris, and also just have it just roll, just action packed and awesome, and keep building on these characters, and also it doesn't jump all over the world like True Believer was a lot. And for cast and crew to be in South Africa, to be in Toronto, to be in Morocco, and for as long as it took to shoot this thing. We had another country we were going to go to that we ended up we couldn't go to because we as often happens, you run out of money. So we didn't get that in. We had to make some changes. But I think with Savage Son, you could do it in a place that would double for kind of everywhere. You wouldn't need to travel much. It's really be cool for the executives to see as far as an investment standpoint. So we'll see. I'd love to do it. Trish would love to do it, and we'll find out. We'll find out in the coming months.
Any other? You mentioned the new editions of the first 3 books coming out. I was curious what those are like, and then you also had mentioned in the past about actually with us. I think last time you mentioned about Once an Eagle maybe getting a reprint with you doing the foreword, and I didn't know if that had any progress since we spoke last, which I think we talked in early November, late October. But
I went back in my emails because I called with my agent yesterday, and I'm like, what's the status of this? When did I send that email to ask about doing this? And I was scrolling, and I saw that I sent it in October. And so I asked her about it again yesterday. So it's on her list, and we shall see. But it would be a forward and afterward, because I used to put this letter in the beginning of the book when I'd give it to people in the SEAL teams that were just starting off their time in uniform. And I have another one at the back. And the first letter in the front would kind of set up why I'm giving you this book. Here's the why. And then I would say in that letter, there's another letter at the back. It's sealed. You have to read this whole book before you open it, because I don't want to essentially poison your reading experience with my take on what you're going to read. You figure it out for yourself. And then if you're curious, open that letter at the end on what my take is on this book. So that's what I would do if we get to do a reprint of Once an Eagle. I'd love to do that. I think it'd be fantastic, but because I want more people to read it. It popped up on Amazon like to number 2 in one of the categories, probably like military history, maybe, even though it's historical fiction.
It's more fiction. Probably after it was in the gift scene in Dark Wolf, probably.
Yeah, but from Dark Wolf. So I'm like, let's put this out there. Let's get more people reading this book and get my forward and afterward in there, and then I'll push it. And so it's more like a fun project. But I hope we can do it.
I have an older copy, and man, if I ever have an intruder, I'm grabbing that thing first, and they're fucking getting a wallop.
Serious thing, is blunt impact weapon.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that might be the biggest book page-wise on my shelf.
It might be
That
mine.
thing's
One
a
of mine.
monster.
Yeah, I actually have a couple big ones, but yeah, it's up there. It's up there for sure. Yeah, it's a good one. That would be cool. I'd love to do
I
that.
think mine's is Guns, Germs, and Steel. That's the biggest book I own.
Yeah, I'll get that in here somewhere. Yeah, I need to redo this library. So it's not quite. I had to move things around doing like video shoots and stuff in here, and so you have to like move the books behind you or whatever, and so now it's kind of disorganized. So I need to get it back on track.
Do you do it like Dewey Decimal or by author or
Do it by
genre?
well, it's genre in the other room. So the other room is all.
I was gonna say, don't act like that's your only room.
The other room is all the fiction, or that was the idea. It's the other room would be all fiction. So I have all my all the books that I read growing up that I read paperbacks in. Some of them the paperbacks I still have, but I'm collecting all first edition signed of all those books. So I have all the Vince Flynn's in there. I have all the Nelson DeMille's in there, the Clive Cussler's in there, the Tom Clancy's in there, Stephen Hunter's in there, Jean Le Carre's in there. I don't have a full collection of Le Carre first edition signed, but it's close. What else do I have in there? Stephen Hunter, I think I said. So I have all those in there, and then a bunch of all the other fiction. But this was supposed to be all nonfiction, except for this side right here, which is all Fleming right there, and then my stuff. So it's organized, and then all the books, like the other Bond books, and then books about Fleming and Bond there, and then everything else is nonfiction in this room. Anyway.
Wow.
So, but I
That's
organized
impressive.
like Afghanistan, Iraq, terrorism in general, insurgencies in general, Vietnam, World War I, World War II, Civil War, Korea. So I have it broken down like that. CIA, like the NSA. So I have it. So I generally know Vietnam over there. Actually, Vietnam is multiple now after Cry Havoc. I had so much research. Like this is supposed to be this bar. That was a bar.
Yeah.
There, and now it's all books.
Wow.
And that's all. One of those is all Vietnam books, and there's other places in here that are Vietnam books as well. But I added so many doing the research for Cry Havoc. It took up a whole shelf in the bar, and then the other one up there is mostly Soviet Union stuff from the 50s, 60s, 70s. So it's it's
Impressive.
Chris, but I outgrew it already. So now I don't know what to do now.
You need another room.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
A bigger house.
As you real quick back to Cry Havoc, as you laid the groundwork for Tom Reece throughout the first 6 or 7 novels, I think up to 6 is really like picking up all the breadcrumbs and figuring out what Tom had left for James. I noticed in Cry Havoc you start to leave a couple of little breadcrumbs for Thomas for World War II era type stuff. I'm sure it's on a sticky note somewhere, but I was curious if I know you say you shuffle the priority list of what's going to get made. Whenever you shuffle that priority list, is it more like on like what kind of mood you're in or what you think people are ready for? Or maybe do you have like half of a story for this character? For like Thomas, you might have like half of it settled, but maybe the Savage Son novella, you're ready to go. So you pick that because it's the most flushed. Or what's your process for that?
I'm ready to go on multiple fronts. And so it's more, that's a good question because I haven't really thought of it in those terms specifically before, but I think it's just the feeling of when's the right time to do something. When's it appropriate to do something? Because I thought about doing Cry Havoc after Only the Dead. And I'd started Red Sky Morning. I was into those first chapters, doing all the research on that, the submarines, and then the plane, and I think chapter 1, and the prologue. But even then, I was like, you know what? Should I stop? This is a lot of work right now on this submarine stuff and this plane stuff. I feel like I can actually fly this thing, even though I have no idea really how to fly. It's taking so much. Should I just go? Because I had Tom Reece thought out already, like pretty well. I knew beginning, middle, end. I know what I wanted to do with it. And I thought, is now the right time? And then I didn't. I jumped back into Red Sky Morning. And then when I got to the end of that book, it was just very clear, like, okay, this was a great arc.
Makes sense.
Reece. It's a good time to give him a break for a year. And now is the time to jump into Cry Havoc. So it's more of a feeling. It's not anything that's like analytical or anything like that. It's like, okay, when does this feel right and appropriate to add something else? So it felt appropriate to start adding co-written thriller, and then it felt right to do the nonfiction when that came up. probably could have started a couple of those earlier on, but regardless, it's more of a feeling really. So I have all these things
Okay.
that I want to do, and now it's like, okay, what's good? So it'll depend on when I finish James Reece 8, what do I jump in next? Like if I'm late again and I'm like, hey, it's not ready, I'm still going, and it pushes, then I probably won't do the novella. I'll probably have to jump into the next James Reece or Tom Reece or Thomas Reece. So I'm not
Yeah.
sure which one, but I have a real idea that I would love to explore with Thomas Reece just post World War II. So that's in there and percolating. But we'll see. We'll see. So I'm not, it all depends on when I finish James Reece 8. So it's not
Okay.
like whatever I finish next, then this. No, it's like, okay, if I finish in June or July or August or September, that will change the calculus of what I prioritize next.
Gotcha. Did you have Thomas Reece? Does he fly? Is he an Army Air Corps in World War II?
No, I have him in the first book. I have him as I think I have Scouts and Raiders on something in the office when there's the detective that goes into James Reece's house after he's arrested and he's looking at the books and looking at the plaques and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And he's the Vietnam plaque thing in there, or the lighter. There's a couple little hints there, but then there's a Scouts and Raiders in there as well. So that's the first kind of a drop, a little hint about
Okay.
grandfather. So he's a Scout and Raider, but that might morph into like Maritime Branch, OSS or something. I don't know. I left it also vague. All these little things that
Sure.
I leave, I try to leave vague enough where I'm not backed into a corner because I'm not thinking them all the way through, especially at that stage in the terminal list. I just
Yeah.
put in there that I knew I wanted to explore one day, like Stephen Hunter.
No, but you don't have to retcon. Yeah.
But I didn't want to it's just more like, hey, I'd love to do this one day. Probably inspired almost all by Stephen Hunter on that, wanting to do something multi-generational. So I wanted to put things in there because I think I might have mentioned this to you guys before. I've asked Stephen Hunter about some of the stuff that's almost like JFK assassination type stuff in Point of Impact. And I said, did you do that so that you could write, what's the sixth bullet? The JFK book that he wrote 15 years later. And he said, no, I had all this JFK stuff in Point of Impact. And then my editor and I decided to take it out and I just missed a few things. Because back then he was writing that before like Word and word searches.
The
And
third bullet.
third bullet. Yeah. And I wanted to leave things like interesting enough where I'd be interested in writing about it and readers would be interested in it a little more. Same thing with Rafe. I'd put Rafe Hastings at the end of the terminal list, more to make him more mysterious so that readers would be like, I mean, who's this guy? I want to know more about him. And then in the next books, drop a few things about his father and grandfather and give me options to go explore that part of the world, which most authors have pretty much ignored.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we don't want to, we know you're a busy man, but we can't let you go without, can you give us any recent things you've watched, anything you would recommend you're reading outside of your, or to do with your research?
Oh man, it's, I don't even know where to start. Right now I'm trying to go through all the Le Carrés from the beginning because I missed a few in there. So I've been doing that.
What's your favorite Le Carré?
I haven't read them all. That's the thing.
Oh, okay.
A few in there. I read like growing up all the top, like each decade seems to have one that stands out. Obviously Spy in the Cold. People think it's his first book, but it's really its third.
Right.
And so each decade seems to have that book, like Tinker Tailor, and then Perfect Spy, and then probably The Night Manager, Constant Gardener, and then probably Most Wanted Man, maybe. Anyway, so each decade like has that one, even though there are multiple books per decade. So if I am pushed, I might say Honorable Schoolboy, but that's only because I was so deep in it for Cry Havoc.
Gotcha. Okay. That's a good one.
And I would have said the Spy Who Came from the Cold, probably, with Perfect Spy. But I haven't read all of them, so I haven't. So I have here actually in front of me. So I haven't read The Naive and Sentimental Lover. So I haven't read that. Okay. So that's on my list. So I missed a few in there. What else here? We got Secret Pilgrim right here. Our Game, Taylor, Panama. I've read that one. Our Kind of Traitor. So these are just like some paperbacks right here of it, and the hardcover signed are in the other room. But I'm working my way slowly through these things, and it is very slow because I have to jump out and write the books, and then doing the research for the books and all of that. So, but right now, yeah, working my way through the Le Carrés in order, not hitting the ones that I missed, but reading the ones that I read probably at times when I didn't understand what was happening, like Gardner, Berwick Spy, when I read those.
Sure.
But now going back, having this little more time on Earth, and I think I'm appreciating them a lot more now than I did when I was, let's say, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 time frame. So
Perfect. That's
yeah,
perfect.
all those, but yeah, I want to get back to. I'm trying to get back to London to go see the stage play of The Spy Who Came In From the Cold. I think it runs for a few more months here, and then get out to Oxford to see the Le Carré exhibit out there. They overlap for a couple months here, I think in like February, March time frame or something. So
that sounds cool. Yeah.
so it's on the list, the short list.
Before we let you go, real quick, going back to the fourth option topic, do you have the business card handy still?
I do. I put it when I see it.
Yeah, you want to grab it and tell everybody about it real quick?
Back in the other room here.
I just imagine him going into a whole other library.
Man,
I know, it's crazy.
I should have it's right. It's I'll show you right here. I should have cleaned it up a little bit because it's it's over there. So that's a desk that has a glass top. And so there's a bunch of special stuff in there and that underneath that glass top. And one of those things is this. So yeah, it's the card that I made we were in Guam at the time, right after September 11th. And so I had these cards made up from Point of Impact, Stephen Hunter. I learned about it there, but the Paladin right there was from the Paladin right there.
Yep.
Have Gun World Travel. So even though it's a black one and it's a white knight here, and it's a black knight on our cards for Delta Platoon. So I thought, that was right after September 11th, and we're all still pretty young. No one's really been to combat yet, and so we thought, or I thought anyway, we make these up. These are going to be something like our snipers would leave on dead enemies scattered across the battlefield or something like that. And we never used them like that, but I still have the cards.
It's a little blurry on our end. What's the top line is my favorite part of that card.
Right. How about that?
We deal in lead, friend.
Nice.
Yeah. Steve McQueen's line from Magnificent Seven, which is in Point of Impact, and then SEAL Team 5, Delta Platoon, Scout Snipers.
That's that's a really cool challenge coin, like type challenge coin thing. Yeah.
Yeah. If you do a challenge coin for the fourth option, that would be a good idea right there, Chris. Gets credit.
I can't put we deal in lead print on it because it's I don't want to misattribute it, and you only have so much space on those things. So if it's like something that everybody knows, it's like okay, you can get away with that. But I don't know. I don't want people to think that I came up with that. You
could do the Paladin at least.
Yeah, put the Paladin on there, but I don't know. We deal in lead friend. That's pretty cool. I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
They know Magnificent 7. They know it was a nod to Magnificent 7. Anyway, we'll see. I'm sure on the coin, I haven't put much thought into the coin yet, but I'm sure it will have the knight on there. So nice. I'll probably make it the white knight. I'll probably do a white knight, or maybe not. Maybe I'll make it black. Who knows? We'll see. Early stages. I'll have to figure it out over the next month because you got to place those orders early. And this thing's coming out in May, and those dates sneak up on you. So yeah, it'll be some cool. And I'm not going to do any shot throughs this time because I'll save those for the Terminalist universe. But I'll do something that supports independent bookstores. You can only get through independent bookstores. I like to help them out as much as I possibly can. It won't be shot through, but it'll be something. I don't know exactly what yet, but it'll be something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe bit by a dog.
Yeah, that's a good one. I might take. I'll let you get my dog.
You have to get it.
Yeah. Yeah, our dog's I don't know, doesn't really have that killer instinct, I don't think, but yeah, we'll figure something out. Maybe paw prints, that'd be good. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Something like that. It might take a while. But man, yeah, I love talking to you guys. I mean, I love talking books and films and all the rest. But if being a fan of Lethal Weapon and some of these westerns and some of those 80s TV shows, I think I think fourth option's good. You never know till it gets out there, but
sure.
I'm pretty fired up about this and where it landed. So
I'm excited to see somebody get shot with a 6-shooter and then people go to investigate and there's no shell casings and they don't know why.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I did a little different in this, but yeah, I'll have to hold on to that for the next one. But yeah, it's gosh, yeah, I can't wait to get this thing out there. So, but once again, it was supposed to be 2 books this year. It's going to be 1 because it took so much Cry Havoc, and also this took a lot more out of me than I anticipated. And but I'm super. That's the most important thing, is that it's the best effort and the best story there can be. So I think it's there.
Cool.
Good.
All right, we're excited.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll talk to you if you're not too busy closer to pub day. See how everything's going.
Do it. Let's do it. Yeah. What are you guys reading next? Are you reading a bunch of different? Are you in series now? Are you going through?
No, we kind of we finished all of Brad's. Our most recent book was we read Chris Howdy's JFK reimagination, Dead Ringer.
Okay.
We also read The Persian by David McCloskey. And then we're jumping into, me and Mike, I have a list right here. Me and Mike, we just finalized our first half of 2026 reading list. So,
is each a certain number? Is that right?
Yeah, we tend to each bring in some. So we have Cold Zero coming out. We're going to be covering that. Brad and another co-written, Brad and Ward Larson's book, The Killer by Tom Wood. And we want to go back and do some of the Gray Man stuff. We've only covered 2 of the Gray Man books. So we're going to go do book 3. We've been diving into a little bit of Dan Brown. So we're actually going to cover Angels and Demons.
So good.
Daniel Silva's book 2. We want to do, people have been begging us to do Lee Child. So we're going to do The Killing Floor, because that's also what the first season was done off of.
I can come back on for that one. I've read that. That's a good one.
We have The Fourth Option slotted in right for, right there in May. We want to do Nuclear War because Annie Jacobson is coming out with Biological War in July, and so as a biologist, I want to read that one. So, nice. We're definitely going to read Nuclear War. So,
very cool. Yeah, Nuclear War is fantastic. All the Daniel Silva's in there signed. I love Daniel Silva. Love that character, so unique. Gabriel.
Oh yeah.
In that, I think he's fantastic. Love how he writes. Yeah, that's Stephen Hunter. You get some Stephen Hunter in there. But I love what you guys are doing. It's awesome. Anything that I can do to help and promote books and reading generally. I love to do that. It's just so hard. I saw something the other day that said the average 18-year-old is going to spend 27 years of their life on a screen. And I was like,
well, for the first time, I think we dropped below an average of 1 book per year. People are reading less than 1 book per year. It's pretty sad.
I choose this. So I want to do this in the 80s when I'm a little kid. And then, so my vision for this is 80s and 90s, essentially. And then I stepped into it at a time when reading is on a sharp decline from, I think, 2003 onward. It's like a cliff. And then it kind of starts going down 2003, and then 2006, I think it just drops off like that with the rise of the iPhone and then social media after that. So it's like, oh my gosh, this is what a time to be in publishing. It was not what I envisioned. I envisioned being able to write up here in the mountains and send the manuscript to New York and maybe do 1 interview and then go on to the next book. I did not anticipate all these other things that are supporting efforts of the book to just get people aware of it, because you have to break through all of these other options that are
eyeballs, it's attention,
them from the most powerful companies in the history of mankind, whose only job is to keep them from reading. So it's a very interesting time to try to step into publishing and do it in a way that if you envisioned it in the 80s and 90s and build something that you envisioned at that early age, it's a very interesting time. And who knows what happens with AI and all the rest of it. I'm not doing anything with AI. I have no idea how to even sign on to a Chat GPT thing. I've done nothing on that front, and I want to go analog. I just got my own. I switched over from
trying to stay away from Alice.
Yeah, exactly. But I switched over to a regular 1980s, 90s day planner, on your desk that I write.
Oh wow!
And I just ordered because I love it so much. I just ordered a travel, whatever, a book one that's coming in the next couple of days. I'm going as analog as I possibly can. No AI, no calendar.
My wife wants us to go back to flip bones. Like,
I want to go to flip phone too. Unfortunately, I think I'm still in the building phase where I'm still, I want to try to convert people. And that means I have to be on there and engage.
Yeah, you need your Instagram. Yeah.
Need to do that. But ideally, I would love to go to a flip phone at some point. Not quite there yet, but the calendar, writing those things in is been liberating, Jen. I've only been doing it since January, just a weeks, a little over a week or whatever it is. And I love it. It's just, I feel like I have more control writing things in there rather than like putting it on a calendar and then wondering if did it sync with my wife's or my whatever. And it's, so I'm going old school.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time, Jack. This is great. Good luck with everything. And we can't wait for the fourth option.
Thank you. You guys will be getting arcs. I think there's a limited number of arcs that we're doing. So you'll be getting those, I'm sure. So.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
If not, we'll complain to David.
Yeah. David will send them. Awesome. Hey, thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate all you do for not just for authors, but for readers. And I really appreciate what you guys are doing out there. So keep at it. And I'm a fan.
Awesome. Thanks,
Thank
Jack.
you.
You guys take care.
You too.
Have a good
Bye.
night.
All right. We have to thank our patrons, including our Deputy Director, Sherry F., Brad E., Special Agents, Adam, Mike, Ben, Daryl, George, Matt, Don, and Chris. Thank you to Tyler for being on this episode. Great co-host, filling in for Mike.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Happy to be here. Thanks for the invite, as always.
Always a good time with our resident Jack Carr expert. Please subscribe, rate, and review to all 3 seasons of No Limits. You can find us at thrillerpod.com or on Twitter and Instagram at thrillerpodcast. And as always, just let Jack be Jack.